The Battle of Tourcoing saw a Republican French army directed by Joseph Souham defend against an attack by a coalition army under Prince Josias Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. The French army was temporarily led by Souham in the absence of its normal commander Jean-Charles Pichegru. Threatened with encirclement, Souham and division commanders Jean-Victor Marie Moreau and Jacques-Philippe Bonneau improvised a counter-attack which defeated the coalition's widely separated and badly coordinated columns. The War of the First Coalition action was fought near the town of Tourcoing, just north of Lille in northeastern France. The coalition battle plan drawn up by Karl Mack von Liebusch launched 6 columns that attempted to envelop a part of the French army holding the awkward bulge at Menin and Courtrai. The French were able to hold off François-Sébastien Charles-Joseph de Quoy, Count of Clerfayt's northern column, as the southern columns of Franz-Joseph Count Kinsky and Archduke Charles, Duke of Teschen, made slow progress. Meanwhile, Souham concentrated his main strength on the 3 center columns against the overall command of Prince Frederick, Duke of York and Albany, and inflicted a costly setback on the coalition's Habsburg, Austrian, British and Hanoverian troops. The action is sometimes referred to as the Battle of Tourcoing, a gesture towards the English pronunciation of the town. Battle in a nutshell. Under the temporary leadership of Souham, March-Gen Charles Pichegru's Army of the North encountered an Austro-British-German force at Tourcoing. Despite a slight advantage in numbers, the 74,000 Allied troops under Saxe-Coburg were outled and outfought by Souham's 70,000 French troops. Souham devised a strategic pincer movement consisting of his division attacking southwards from Courtrai and March-Gen Bonnaud's division northeastwards from Lille, thus catching the separated Allied columns of Georg Wilhelm von Dembuscher, Rudolf Ritter von Otto and the Duke of York between him. Meanwhile, part of Moreau's command held off the assault of the Count of Clerfayt from the north. It was a sprawling engagement fought out over many square miles of countryside just west of the Scheldt River in Flanders. Together with March-Gen Jean-Baptiste Jourdan's victory at the Battle of Fleurus on the 16th of June, Tourcoing marked the start of the evacuation of the Allied forces from Flanders and French supremacy in Western Europe. Forces. The Army of the North included the divisions of Souham, Moreau, Jacques-Philippe Bonneau and Osten. Saxe-Coburg's army consisted of 3 Austrian columns commanded by Archduke Charles, Duke of Teschen. The François-Sébastien Charles-Joseph de Quoy, Count of Clerfayt and Franz-Joseph Count Kinsky. Von Dembuscher commanded the Hanoverians. The Duke of York led the British, Hessen-Darmstadt and Hessen-Kassel contingents. Background. The Army of the North had thrust eastward so that the divisions of Souham and Moreau, which formed the left flank, stood on the south bank of the Lys River between Courtrai and Albaquet. Bonneau held the centre with units at Lannoy, Tresson and Saingen. In addition, Compere's brigade held Tourcoing and Thierry's brigade held Mouscron. Ostend's division defended Pontarmarcq on the right flank. These dispositions straddle the current French-Belgian border. Saxe-Coburg's chief of staff, General Karl Mack von Liebusch, proposed enveloping and annihilating the 50,000-strong mass formed by Souham and Moreau. Clerfayt's detached corps was to march along the north bank of the Lys from Thielt through Menin. At Werwick, Clerfayt would force a crossing to the south bank, placing him well behind the French left flank. The Duke of York's 3 columns would advance to the northwest from Tournai toward Tourcoing. This force would pin the divisions of Souham and Moreau against the Lys. To the south, Archduke Charles and Kinsky would brush Osten and Bonneau aside and wheel northwest, linking with Clerfayt and trapping the French left flank. The movement began on the 16th of May. Battle. On the 17th of May, Clerfayt found his crossing resisted by Brigadier Dominique van Damme, who had a brigade of Moreau's division. The Duke of York's right column under Busher captured Mouscron, but it was driven out again and mauled by a French brigade. The centre column led by Otto seized Tourcoing. With the British Guards Brigade under Henry Fox leading the attack, the Duke of York's left column under Ralph Abercrombie stormed into Lannoy, Willems and Mouvarks. Kinsky's column crossed the Mark River at Bouvines but made little progress beyond there. Archduke Charles's column got a late start and barely made it to Pontarmarcq. Only the columns of Abercrombie and Otto had reached their assigned positions by evening. On the 18th of May, Souham determined to hurl 40,000 men at the Duke of York's three columns, while holding Kinsky, Charles and Clerfayt off with secondary forces. During the night, Clerfayt managed to cross to the south bank of the Lys. His 21,000 men drove back Vandam's 12,000, but he was unable to advance south beyond Linzels. Shaken by his defeat the day before, Busher retreated to the Scheldt. In the south, Charles and Kinsky remained almost completely inert, despite Mac's frantic orders for them to march to Lannoy. Instead, Charles became obsessed with protecting his left flank and rear from French incursions. At dawn, Brig Gen Etienne MacDonald's brigade of Souham's division rushed and recaptured Tourcoing from Otto. Malbronc's brigade attacked Mouvarks from the north while Bonneau applied pressure from the west. At first, Otto held firm on a line south of Tourcoing, but he was slowly driven back. At 11:30 a.m., the command of Abercrombie, now isolated and under very heavy attack, nevertheless extricated itself and retreated from Mouvarks toward the southeast, Fox's Guards Brigade distinguishing itself during the withdrawal. This ended the battle. The Duke of York, separated from his command, narrowly avoided capture and was obliged to wade a deep brook to escape. Souham immediately faced his tired troops about and prepared to attack Clerfayt. That general, realizing he was now alone, recrossed to the north bank of the Lys and retreated to the northeast. Results: the French suffered 3,000 casualties and lost 7 cannon. There was no pursuit of the defeated Allied main body. The Allies lost 4,000 killed and wounded, with 1,500 men and 60 guns captured. The 1st Hanoverian Infantry Regiment was nearly destroyed. The reasons for the Allied defeat were simple. There was poor staff work, very little cooperation and a failure to bring all their troops into action. Of his 74,000 Allied soldiers, Saxe-Coburg only committed 48,000 to battle.